it's a challenge. I can see now why the other people just threw 2 screws in it and left. What's up, everybody? Ryan here, back in Warrensville Heights for part 2.
Mayfield Heights.
What?
Mayfield Heights.
Oh. What's up, everybody? Ryan here from Mayfield Heights. We're back for part 2 of heat exchanger replacement gone horribly wrong. We got parts, we've got pieces that we're missing. If you haven't seen part 1, yeah, I'd say something is going on with this unit. This whole freaking thing just stinks. Go watch part 1 of this video and then you can come back and watch the rest of this one. But I want to point out when we get to it, the part that was missing that caused all this mess. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking things apart. We're gonna get this new heat exchanger in with all the new parts put back together. I'm starting to remember, it's starting to come back to me now, what was happening here. The draft motor, where it was mounted, there was a whole piece missing. It seems odd that that draft motor just sits on there and it's all open right here. Don't you think? Yeah. Something don't seem right. I'm not sure how this thing even ran, so once we get everything put back together, we're gonna give this wiring a really good look, very thorough look to make sure this thing is wired properly and working properly. Piece of crap, really, in my opinion. But yeah, somebody put it together and did not have all the proper pieces. So now that we got it opened up, we're gonna unbox all the new pieces and get everything put together. That way we can slide this thing back in and get all the screws in. If you remember from the previous video, the thing wasn't even screwed in properly. There was like 2 screws holding it in. None of these screws were in along the top. None. I don't know, I'm gonna have to dig in here. And we've also got this bracket that I believe is gonna go, I don't know, somewhere. I'm probably gonna open that one up just to see how the hanger is hanging the heat exchanger, but that's that. It's Monday, the sun is shining, we've got a box full of parts and a new heat exchanger, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to it. So I've got everything just roughly put in place, but this right here is the piece that was missing. It's called the collector box cover channel. I'll throw a picture up on the screen right now and show you exactly what we're missing. You see that? It separates, well, it doesn't really separate, but it allows the combustion blower to just pull through the heat exchanger and not all along the outside. Like I said, I have nothing screwed together. I was just trying to piece it together, see where my gasket's gotta go. But that's the way it's gonna go, with no hole here. How somebody just put that together, it missed that whole piece, and turned it on and let it go, caused all this. Surprised they could have killed somebody, really, with the amount of carbon monoxide. I don't, like I said, don't even know how it was running. We're gonna dig into all this wiring, make sure that it's right, wired properly. But I just wanted to show you guys now, while I was piecing it together, that was the piece we were missing. So I'm gonna pull all this back off, get all these gaskets in place, get everything screwed together. I've got this piece mounted now. These sides are critical. You have to have that. I'm just sorting out all the gaskets as I get these pieces put in place, but I just wanted to bring you back and show you as I got these pieces put in and screwed down. We're definitely a lot further ahead now than we were last time. All right, we are all back together. We seem to be put together correctly, and we'll find out when we go to shove everything in. But next thing I'm gonna do is figure out this hanger. I know it goes in here somewhere, but took the blower out only because this whole freaking platform is all uneven. Look, they're missing screws that go this way too, bro. We'll get one in there now, but Yeah, just so we could get all the screws put back in the top of this heat exchanger without trying to work around that, and also to get the hanger. We're gonna have to drill new holes because it's not an exact, the old one went around the outside. This one appears to go on the inside, so it's just gonna be easier to drill new holes. And I wanna make sure this thing's put together the right way. And now having the blower out is gonna make that a little bit easier. So I'm gonna get a few screws in this, then me and Ryan are gonna go ahead and put this sucker back in. All right, well, at least we've got it in the unit. Now we gotta get everything lined up. All right, we've removed the blower and the entire mounting bracket for the, well, removed the motor and the whole bracket for the blower. What a pain in the butt. None of these screws were in. Like I said, we only got now these screws in. And there's little slots back here for the screws to run through. It was a total pain in the butt. So next, we gotta get that bracket screwed in from up top down. After we get that in, everything else should just fall into place. We're gonna have to rethink our mounting bracket here, the hanger, because it ends up landing on nothing. But anyway, this thing is, I wouldn't say kicking our ass, but it's certainly, it's a challenge. I can see now why the other people just threw 2 screws in it and left. But we're gonna carry on. One way or another, we will get every screw in this thing and make sure it's right. So enough blabbering, we're gonna keep at it. All right, guys, well, we've got all the screws in. Really all we have are these 2 down here. There's a hole on the back side, but I can't find a hole for it to screw down in through, but we've got more than enough back here, and then we definitely needed to remove that blower motor just to get to the screws here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 screws that were not in it originally, and this thing's pretty solid. Here's what I was talking about with that bracket. That's definitely not the right place, so I'm gonna take this off. I'm just gonna get it to fit on the back side and make a couple of holes here. But literally, when we showed up the first time, the only thing holding this heat exchanger in were these 5 screws, and I believe 1 right here, and missing critical components that caused, you know, this thing to roll out and burn weird and get all crazy. So next thing I'm gonna do, oh, look at that, it looks so nice, is get this bracket off. I'm gonna force it onto these bigger tubes and just screw it so it has some support on the back end and isn't just flopping around when the blower runs. We are making progress. We've officially got the heat exchanger in. I had to put the bracket here on the outside, just run a couple of screws up. It's a different style than the one that was here originally. I think that's fine. Definitely supported. Every screw is now in place. This heat exchanger's not going anywhere. All the proper fittings and brackets and pieces are in. Gaskets. Get this combustion blower back in place. We gotta tighten up this gas line. It's kind of loose, and so we'll pull that off, get everything tight, and sealed on the gas line. Get the gas valve manifold in. We got to clean the orifices. They only sent us one orifice, so we'll pull all the orifices, make sure they're clear, take a wire wheel to them, get all the components back in place, and then we're gonna go through every wire and make sure this thing's wired up properly, cleaned up, and working properly. Check gas pressure, all that good stuff. Because this unit's been down since we were here. We pulled the fuses and shut the disconnect off and took all the pieces with us. That way no one else showed up and, I don't know, did something. So they've had no air conditioning here. And as you can see, this guy's running, and we want this one running too. And here we are. All the parts and the pieces have been reassembled. I did my best on this wiring. I cleaned up any of the connections that looked suspicious. Got everything zip tied up here in the burner compartment. Looked all the wiring over. A couple wire nuts here and there, but that ain't gonna hurt nothing. All pinned up. Got the grommet. New ignition control board. I like it. We've got the supply duct into the store blocked off. I've got the new support on the back end. I don't see any daylight here. We've got all the gaskets in place that came with it. I think we are ready to get my manometer hooked up so we can set gas pressure, and we're gonna put whatever panels we can to burn this thing off. But as many of you know, it's like a ancient Chinese puzzle getting all these panels on. One panel screws into another on these Daikin / Goodman units. Probably my least favorite part about these units, the panels. You know, you got to have all of them in place to have them all secured. You can't just take that one off. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But let me get my manometer hooked up, get the gas turned on, tightened up all these fittings that were loose. The blower, the motor, everything is back in place. I did notice here afterwards that they did give us cutouts here to get to those screws, but yeah, it was just easier taking everything out. We do have all the screws in place now, so pretty excited about that. Burn this thing off, get them heat, and then we can get the air conditioning going, make sure they're good to go on that end. Okay, well, we're getting ready to jump it out. We got Y1, we got W1 and W2 jumped out.
It's jumped already.
Okay, beautiful. So our belt needs put back on. All right, Ryan, go ahead and give it some power. All right, I got my manometer hooked up. I zeroed it out, but it's still showing 0.5. I think we're gonna be all right. See if I can zero it one last time before we fire up. Well, I think I zeroed it as it fired. That's all right. I'll unhook it, re-zero it out, and get this gas pressure set. I just want to see if we're gonna smoke real bad. I don't see a ton of smoke coming off of it. It stinks though. I see it coming out of the blower compartment. Holy shit. So we got the panel in place. It stinks. I'm gonna let that cook for a bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna unhook my manometer and recalibrate it and hook it back up. Flames look good, nothing's rolling out. We have, you know, the piece in there that makes this thing work. I'm not sure how the hell it worked at all the first time with whoever replaced that. It wasn't our company, so I don't know. But we got the right parts. We're back in business. I'm gonna go ahead and check the gas pressure and we'll be good to go. All right guys, so we're running about 2 inches water column on first stage, which is fine. And then bouncing up to 3.2 I might increase that a little bit, but the gas pressure is pretty close. I like it. I'm just gonna let this thing cook for a bit and make sure that we don't have any smoke still present in the unit. That way when they call for heat here come fall, they won't catch any smell. But looks good. I'm happy with it. Our heat exchanger's not bouncing all over the place. I'm glad we got that bracket. And all in all, I think it worked out pretty nicely. Here's our little note I wrote. It says returning with parts that were missing when heat exchanger was replaced. And luckily nobody else came and tried to do anything else, so. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That'll notify you anytime I got a new video coming out. Leave me a comment, hit like. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.